Oh hey, does anybody want to know how I made these really pretty sugar orchid flowers for this stunning cake that I made last year? If you do, stay tuned because I'm going to show you right now. So I'm starting off with some fondant mixed with CMC powder. CMC powder is going to help it firm up. I'm using this throat cutter, which I will link in the description, to create the throat of the orchid. Making sure to smooth out those edges because they do tend to get a little rough, and I'm cutting off that piece because I don't need it. I'm making sure to put every little piece that I make into a Ziploc bag so it doesn't harden up. Now I'm taking the throat cutter and I'm just using like the ear of it to create a little piece. So you'll see what I do later with that. Now I'm making 3 of these skinny petals. Again, all of these cutters are linked in the description. Each flower is going to need 3 of those. So I'm cutting those out, smoothing the edges, putting in the Ziploc bag. Now I'm using this larger cutter to cut out just 2 of these petals. Each flower is going to need 2 of these. Now the floral wire that I'm using here, I do not recommend using green. And also this is like 26 gauge. You gotta get smaller. Get a little bit smaller and get it in white. The green was not convenient with the white petals. I made it work, but don't recommend. However, I have linked what I used exactly in my Amazon storefront in the description. Now all I'm doing here is I'm putting a tiny little ball of fondant on the end of the floral wire, and I'm just rolling it. And this is going to create something for the flower to actually stick to. Now I'm going to put the throat of the flower on top of the flower wire with the little piece of fondant, and I'm going to push it inside of this veiner tool, and it creates that little nice veining of the flower. Now we're going to go ahead and add 2 small balls that you can see in the throat of the flower there. I am attaching everything with a little bit of edible glue. Now my favorite part, I'm adding some edible petal dust to start adding some color. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff, and I do recommend doing it on a paper towel because it gets pretty messy. Now you can't see it here, but I'm going to go ahead and take the lid of my red food coloring, and I'm going to take a cocktail stick and I'm just going to dip it in and add those little dots to it. Now I'm taking my ball tool on top of my foam pad, and I'm just curling up the sides of the throat, bringing them in. And I'm going to sit them to dry in this wavy foam pad. As you can see, I'm kind of tucking them in so they kind of keep their shape, and I'm adding a little bit more of that petal dust to the places that I missed. We're going in again with our petal veiner with the larger petals this time, with the little flower wire with the fondant on top. Now I'm setting each one of these larger petals inside of a little bowl so they can kind of dry with a little bit of a curve to them. Here's a little bit of a closer look at what that veiner tool really does to each petal. So it's super worth it to purchase. I think without it, it just would look really flat and boring. Now we're doing the exact same thing with the skinnier, smaller petals. Now remember that little piece that we cut out with the throat cutter, kind of like the ear of the throat cutter? We're going to attach that piece to a floral wire along with that little piece of fondant, and we're going to smush it in there. I feel like some of these parts are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not gonna over commentate on what's happening. I hope that it's clear what I'm doing. So at this point we have all our petals, our throats are all ready to go and come together. So starting with the throat, I'm going to attach the little ear of the throat right at the floral wire. And I'm going to be taking some floral tape, which kind of has like a natural stickiness to it. This is also linked in my Amazon storefront. And I'm just wrapping it, twisting it from the bottom to the tippy top right underneath the throat. Once you've got it wrapped in the floral tape, you can really kind of go in and adjust the petals to have them face the way that you want to face and just adjust them as needed. And we're going to go ahead and go in and add one of the bigger sized petals now with that floral tape again. You'll really kind of feel when everything's nice and secure in there, and whether or not you need more tape or not. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, but I am going ahead and I'm adding the other bigger petal to the opposite side and wrapping around again with that flower tape. Now that we've added the smaller petal on the top, behind the bigger flowers, I'm going to go ahead and bend this smaller petal kind of so that it's facing up, but it's going to be on the bottom side of the flower. I hope that makes sense, and I hope it was clear in the video. I think this is a little bit of a clearer depiction of what I meant by that. And so that was the last petal to add. So that's pretty much it. And I absolutely am obsessed with how it turned out for this zodiac cake. It's a Cancer sign, I believe, that I made last year. I think it looks so beautiful. I really love making sugar flowers. It's probably one of my favorite things to do, but I don't get to do it enough because I make a lot of kids' cakes. But I would love to make more videos on how to make these sugar flowers. So if you have a specific flower you'd like to see me make, drop it in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful, and bye.